What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Upcoming Mods. This is a series where I show you guys some mods coming out for Fallout 4 in the next coming weeks, typically by a various amount of mod authors, but today I'm doing something a little bit special. Basically, a mod author in the community, FlipDark95, did just post a huge update to all the mods he's working on. These are all very high quality, and a lot of them are never before seen. I never posted them on the series, and some of them are getting the most up-to-date pictures we've had in months. For that reason, I decided to just make this whole episode about that. There's enough content there that I'm not worried about falling short in places, and all around it's a bunch of cool mods, so let's check them out. So first and foremost, we actually have the Union Blaster. So there's a little bit of backstory behind this. Basically, this is handmade by Moria Brown. If you remember her, she was a resident of Megaton in Fallout 3. Basically, she traveled onto Mothership Zeta, took some notes, and came back down to the Earth, and thus decided to make this weapon based on some of the technology she received and some things she learned. This is actually one of the docks in Fallout 3's Mothership Zeta. At least that's what FlipDark says. So basically taking some lore from a way prior game and incorporating it into this game is very cool. That's not necessarily going to make the weapon any better, but if there's a cool way to get it, like maybe it drops out of a spaceship or something like that, or a traveler brings it along and it's very referencing to Fallout 3 and Moria, that would be very cool and a nice little touch to the weapon. As you did just see, the blaster itself does look very good. It's like some kind of crossover between a plasma rifle and a laser rifle, basically now just being a weird fusion energy gun. I think it looks really cool, and I'm excited to have a new weapon platform in that category. Although energy weapons as well as plasma weapons are really cool, it's always nice to have some variety, and after playing 3 Fallout games back to back to back, it got a little boring using the same kind of stuff all the time. Next up, we do have the Pilgrims and Power Armor. I'm going to be really brief with this one because I did cover it in a previous video. Basically, this is going to be an entire expansion mod called Pilgrims End. There's a lot of other pictures on Nexus. I'll try and remember to link that in the description. They have a few different armors, there's power armor and some weapons and quests and new world space, etc, coming with that mod. It's pretty early in development, but it's fun to follow these kinds of things and watch them as they grow. Basically adding in a samurai power armor into Fallout 4, which is going to be absolutely epic, especially if it has some kind of cool power armor-esque sword. Like, I don't want just a katana, I want something that's energized and just very cool to fit with the power armor. So next up, we do have the 12.7mm pistol. If you guys do remember, this is actually a gun that was in Fallout New Vegas. Basically, it's a pistol designed around actually some longer range fire, which is a little bit contradictory to what a pistol stands for, but nonetheless, yes, that's what it is. This seems like the closest to release out of all these mods. Maybe this is just a me thing, but I always like having mods from previous Fallout games incorporated into Fallout 4. I feel like they fit the best and they just always seem very cool, and that nostalgia factor definitely plays a pretty big part in my enjoyment. So next up, we do have the Institute Power Armor. This is another one I already made a video on, as in I included it in my upcoming mod series, but you may also be like, hey, I've seen that power armor, it's out already. Actually, no, the Institute Power Armor is something in the concept art of Fallout 4. FlipDark is the one I made a video about in my upcoming mod series. The one I made a standalone video about was M150. Basically, both of these guys saw the armor in the concept art and were like, hey, I'm gonna make a power armor. M150 got to release first, but I think waiting out for FlipDark is definitely going to be a lucrative venture. First and foremost, based on these images alone, I think his has a higher texture quality, which maybe some of you guys don't really care about that. The next features that it does add are a little bit better. Basically, in his, he's going to have different variants based on those little chest pieces there. I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do, but they're probably going to have some different effects, and obviously aesthetically they're going to look a little bit different. I think it's a really cool feature, especially for a power armor without a helmet and thus without much personality. It's nice to have like a defensive one, an aggressive one, etc. On top of that, he actually has a total technically standalone mod for this, but I'm just going to include it in this one. Expanded Institute weaponry is going to add in an Institute Lance rifle. He says this is only going to be held by coursers, and basically it's supposed to be especially powerful against taking down power armor, and an extremely heavy variant of a laser rifle, or an Institute rifle, or whatever you want to call it. I'm excited to see this. I like that he's going with the theme of the Institute rifle in Fallout 4 right now, although I do like the fusion gun, which is meant to be a replacement for the Institute guns. It doesn't really look anything like the existing ones, although it fits the theme of the Institute, it doesn't fit the theme of the Institute rifle. I like that this one seems like a souped up version of the rifle already in the game, and I'm excited to see its release. So last but not least is actually the mod that I'm going to be most hyped for out of all of these, and probably the one we won't see for the longest amount of time. Expanded pre-war weaponry is going to be a new weapon pack mod, adding in a ton of weapons into Fallout 4. The first few images you see aren't as exciting, basically a 10mm pistol concept, a assault rifle concept. Then we start to get a little bit more interesting and see a few familiar faces. Then we have the service rifle remake. So this is going to add in the service rifle from Fallout New Vegas into Fallout 4. As you can see, it seems like there's going to be a modified variant there, and it looks like that one's going to be much more like an M4 and have some more modularity to it as compared to the traditional service rifle we know from Fallout New Vegas. So moving on, we do have some kind of M14 or something like that. Not entirely sure what that is, but it definitely looks like a World War II styled weapon. Then we do have the battle rifle. This is going to be a remake of the machine from New Vegas. That's his exact words. So it actually looks different than the gun prior to it, which is pretty interesting. This looks more like an MK14 EBR, or maybe the one before it. I forget the name of that gun, but it's that gun from World War II games. So then moving on, we actually have a couple weapons that I'm particularly excited for. The MK41 Cryojet .51 BMG rifle. This is meant to be an anti-power armor weapon, which I feel like is really lacking in Fallout 4. Yeah, you have crazy cool guns and explosive guns, but a gun that was designed to take down power armor, I feel like really isn't there, and I'm hoping this remedies that. So next up, we have the same concept in mind, except this one is more of a rifle. So it's actually going to be an anti-power armor, anti-material rifle, meant to be very futuristic and continued design. So basically people continued designing after the war, so this is supposed to be a more modernized weapon meant for taking down power armor. And then we do have an MP44, which just looks really interesting, and then the Avtomat hunting rifle, which again looks absolutely awesome. And then last but not least, a little tidbit, Flipdark does say he is going to begin work soon on a Nuka rifle based on this picture right here, which looks absolutely amazing. It looks like you put a Nuka Coil Quantum, or maybe it'll be just a regular Nuka Coil variant, into the back of it, and you load it that way, and you could crank it up and fire shots. So very excited for that all around. A bunch of really cool mods that I'm extremely excited to see come out. I hope you guys did enjoy this little video. Big shout out to Flipdark. If you don't know, check him out. But with that, I hope to see you all next time. Later.